What is going on, guys? Hope you're doing well. I just wanted to make a quick update about Bitcoin and Ethereum and what I'm seeing on these currencies and exactly how I have adapted. So in the last video, we saw that Bitcoin looked like it was going to take out these lows down here. It has since done that. I managed to get in just below here. I was on the lower time frame when I got on. I believe it was the 15 minutes or the 30 minutes. Must have been the 15 minutes then. Yes, I saw this candle high get violated right here. And so that for me was a decent enough entry. And so as we moved up, as I'm now monitoring it on the 4 hour and the 1 hour, we can see that since then we got all the way up to about 4%. And we are making structural new highs. I am paying close attention to how we react at this level because this is one of the last daily bearish candle highs, which is a significant level for me. That doesn't if that's not very clear to you, if we go right here, the last bearish candle high is right here. And so I'm expecting price to at least show willingness to come up to this level. However, either way, I'm now running this at break even, meaning I've now got no risk on the table. It could come down and take me out, but that's just at the price that I got in. So I'm completely fine with that. I'm just monitoring how prices move, but I'd be very surprised if we don't go and reach the all-time high. The only reason I'm moving it to break even and being a bit more aggressive is because there is still always that possibility that it could come lower before it makes that bigger move. And so I'm being aware of that and I'm monitoring closely for what is going to happen next, because ultimately for that bigger move to happen, we're going to need to see a major structural point break. And for me, that's going to be a level like this right here. As soon as that breaks, ideally a daily close above that level, or a 4 hour close, or 2 4 hour closes would be ideal. Then I will be thinking, okay, cool. I'll be looking for some lower time frame confirmation and maybe even re-entering if it hasn't taken this position out, and then moving up for the bigger move up here, and then potentially beyond I'll partial out and scale out as we get to the major structural highs like this. And yeah, because obviously long term I do think Bitcoin has still got another month or so, maybe even 2 to 3 months of going fairly bullish. And so, this would have been a really, really good entry if this is the base of this overall major retrace. However, it could come much lower, and that's absolutely fine. Again, I'm monitoring what is happening as it's coming, so I'm not like stressing out and trying to pick the tops and bottoms. I'm simply managing my risk and being systematic with how I'm executing on the technicals. Now, just to reiterate, in case you haven't seen the videos or you're just like a little bit of a refresher, oh, that came out a bit weird, a little bit of a refresher, then I'll break this down for you right now. So we breached all-time highs a while ago over here. Okay, I'm not going to leave that line on, but you can see it very clearly there. After that, if we go down to the 4 hour time frame, we can see we were taking out multiple lows depicted by these purple levels right here before eventually breaking above a major structural high. So if we were looking at minor structural highs, as I was mentioning a minute ago, those would be highs like this. Now, whilst those highs do show strong indication, not as strong as a major structural high. And this I define as major because it had a very, very strong pullback into it, and then it created that lower low. And so when we saw this close right here, that was key information, followed by a very corrective move down, followed by some more structure breaks within it. We saw breaks above these levels, etc. And they also gave place to our levels that we've drawn here, which was then confirmed by this bigger move. And then when we came down here, these were the levels we were looking at. And then we were looking at this level being violated, because when I first made the video, we were kind of around these sorts of levels here. And I said, if we broke down below this sort of level, then it's more than likely it would be coming out to take out the lows down here. We did that. Then we came down here. I waited for lower time frame confirmation, confirming we were switching from bearish to bullish. Of course, when I say confirming, it doesn't mean it's 100%. Nothing in trading is ever going to be 100%, but it's probabilistic, and it was more likely that we were going to see at least some upside movement. And so I simply got in there and had my stops just below this first zone here that we respected by literally by the wick to the T, and then we continued pushing up further. Now, again, as I said, waiting for these structural highs to break, which would hopefully, ideally, look something like this, and then possible re-entry around about these levels right here. But again, we don't know, and I don't like speculating too far into the future. I think it's completely pointless. I'm just monitoring what price is saying at the current point, because it will tell me where it's reacting, where it's not reacting. And whilst the problem and the risks with crypto trading from my short experience with crypto is going to be situations like these, where we have these absolutely huge wicks, you know, they are going to come and absolutely, you know, destroy you if you've got stop losses. But I did speak about this in the last video about the difference between passive and aggressive investing, or just trading versus investing, basically. And those are the risks involved, especially with crypto, less so with other asset classes that I'm a lot more familiar with. But in terms of crypto, again, that is part and parcel. But there are a few little tips and tricks that I am looking into to help avoid these. A few of them, if we just go right here and we look at these sessions, for example, normally on average, we will see between 1 and 2, normally it's under 2 of these big wicks per week. Now, of course, this is a very generalized statement, but especially when we are in these massive retrace pullback periods, we will generally see 1 a week. We see 1 here, we see 2 this week. This week, we kind of see 1 here, we see 1 down here. This week, last week, we saw this one right here. So only really 1. This week, we've seen this. And so kind of 1 again. So that's just an eyeball observation. I still need to go back and test that to look for validity. As always, sorry, excuse me. As always, I'm not just looking at something and assuming that's the way it works. I always have a theory, and then I go ahead and I test that theory in order to add validity to that statement and just make sure that I'm not kidding myself. I'm not just, you know, chatting out my arse, basically. And so, yeah, let's have a quick look at Ethereum and see where it's at. Ethereum has not reached our level just yet. We can see similar situation to Bitcoin, except we haven't come down and taken out these lows down here. What do I think will happen? I really, to be honest with you, I'm just monitoring how prices are behaving, because we have shown some bullish signs within here. But I do think that if we begin breaking structure, specifically if we begin closing and staying below these levels down here, then I do think it's very possible that we could be, let me just get that right color there, a little bit of OCD kicking in. But if we do see this break and then start kind of coming down like this, I'd be very, very surprised if we did not take out these levels down here. So what does that translate as? Potentially even a short-term sell down to these levels. However, that is very, very aggressive considering we're in a bull market still. And so again, everything carries risk. It's not about getting it right every time. It's about managing your risk, staying in the game, and letting the probabilities play out. That's all it is. And as long as you understand that it's high risk, then it's fine. Obviously, none of this is financial advice. This is all just the approach that I am taking. So take it or leave it. Do your own due diligence. And yeah, I'm going to leave it there, guys. If you'd like to see more videos, if you'd like me to break down in more depth how I am analyzing these, or you'd like to see me doing it live or something like that, let me know in the comments below. I really want to know what you guys would like to see. And yeah, you know, this channel's still in its very early stages. It's very experimental at this point. So yeah, so just anything you've got, any idea, no matter how outrageous, how weird and wacky and strange and bizarre, just shoot it below, and I'll get back to you for sure, and probably will just make that video for you. But take care, guys. Love you all, and I'll see you in the next one.